They put me on this stuff called methotrexate. My teeth started rotting out of my head. I got 2 root canals in a month. Additionally, my sphincter basically quit working. Like, I started just randomly crapping my pants. It's not funny, but it's freaking hilarious. Like, I was sitting on the couch and Kara was in the kitchen. I was just sitting there eating my lunch. Out of nowhere, dude. Out of freaking nowhere. Just crap my pants. I was like, did I just crap my freaking pants, dude? So then like 3 days later, I'm standing in the kitchen. It happens again. I'm like, what is going on? So this time I tell Kara, I'm like, Kara, what? I'm literally shatting upon myself just standing here. Like, what is going on, you know? And so I call the doctor. I'm like, hey, man, like, what are the side effects of this freaking dope you got me on? Because I got some wild stuff going on out here. And she was like, well, what do you got going on? I was like, well, my teeth are rotting out of my head and I'm basically shitting my pants every day. Like, what is this stuff? And she was like, yeah, those are side effects of the methotrexate. I was like, hey, man, y'all can't put that in the fine print. You got to put that in the bold print, man. You got to let people know your sphincter's going to quit working. Like, what in the freaking world? What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Art of Suffering podcast with Dalton Darnell. Today is our Progressive Overload episode for the week, and we're going to be talking about the concept of extreme ownership. This is something that if any of you guys listen to Jocko Willink, the Jocko podcast, he talks about extreme ownership a lot. He wrote a book called Extreme Ownership, and it's a really cool, it's really simple and a really cool principle that he has applied to his whole life. And so one thing I've kind of wrestled with over the years, because I've listened to Jocko for several years now, is the idea of extreme ownership applying to a person who's following the king, right? So am I supposed to own everything, or is everything supposed to be God's? Or I mean, how is that supposed to work? And it always brings me back to this little story my dad told me a long time ago, and probably a lot of you have heard this, but I'm going to tell the story in case you haven't. So the story goes like this. There was a giant flood, let's say down south in Louisiana, and it flooded this whole town. And this guy climbs to the roof of this house to escape the flood, and he's sitting on this roof and he's praying to God. And he's like, God, save me from the flood. And then a little boat comes along and says, hey, buddy, you need a ride, you know? And he says to the boat, no, I don't need a ride. God's going to save me. And then he, a couple of days later, a helicopter comes and says, hey, buddy, you need a lift off of there. And he says, no, God's going to save me. And he stays on his roof, right? And after a couple of more days, the floodwaters overtake him and he dies. And he gets to heaven and he says, God, why didn't you save me? And God looks at him and says, I sent a boat and a helicopter. What do you think that was? You know? And I've always thought about it in this way of like us having discernment and recognizing what God is doing. Like, that's the extreme ownership side of it for us, is staying in the Word, praying enough, listening to the King enough to understand when He's doing what He's doing. Because if you don't know Him, how are you supposed to know what He's doing? How are you supposed to recognize the mission or your purpose, or when He's saving you, when He's training you, right? When the battles come from Him and not the enemy. And so the last week or so, I've been really trying to be disciplined in a lot of different areas. Disciplined in my health and my fitness, disciplined with loving and cherishing my wife, disciplining my children in a better way. And I find myself back at this book over and over and over again, trying to understand the King's heart for me. So as most of you guys know, I have an autoimmune disease called psoriatic arthritis. And for the first time in my life, I've been praying about the psoriatic arthritis for healing. I've been asking God to heal me of the psoriatic arthritis. And I'm kind of the guy on the roof, you know what I mean? But what I found is the last several weeks, we'll say the last 4 weeks, the arthritis has been the worst it's ever been. Like my right hand and my right wrist are basically incapacitated. Like I have minimal strength in this hand because of the swelling and the inflammation and all the things that come along with the disease. And my question to God is, you know, what am I supposed to learn from this? And then what am I supposed to do? Like, how am I supposed to be a strong man without the use of my right hand? Like, it's still there, and it still works, and I can still, like, put my belt on and stuff. But each and every action with this hand is painful. Same with my lower back. Same with my left hand in the mornings. It gets a little better. But this right hand is really giving me trouble. And so how does extreme ownership apply to someone who has given their life away? You've given your life to God, and you've gone, all right, Lord, I'm yours. Do with me what you will. I think the extreme ownership side of that for us is to seek Him, is to constantly seek what His heart for us is, and then maintain this posture of, through all things, God is good. Through all things. It doesn't matter what those things are, right? That's me owning being a warrior for the King. That's me owning my responsibilities. Because my first and foremost responsibility, if I want to walk this walk, is to understand this book. Understand what it means for God to love me, understand what it means to walk with Him, understand what it means to love other people. And if we take the ownership in that and go, okay, this is my job while I'm down here, is to not only, and then here's the hard part, it's not only to read and understand the book as He allows us to understand it, right? Because He gives it to us as we're reading. But then apply it to our lives. We have to apply it to what we have going on. We have to apply it to the people around us. But I go back to the, where Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane asking for the cup to pass. I've prayed that prayer many times in the last month. I'm like, Lord, take this away. What is this? Like, how is my purpose? How does this affect my purpose? What am I supposed to do with this garbage hand? But then there's another part of me that feels like the guy on the roof, that maybe, because my wife keeps telling me to go to the doctor. I can't stand the doctor. I can't stand going to the doctor because I've been to rheumatologists, and man, they just give you a Band-Aid and they don't fix anything. And so I've been trying to do it through diet, like an anti-inflammatory diet, and it seems to just get worse. It just seems to not do right. And I really thought quitting drinking would help, because I drank a lot because of the pain. Like, you spend all day in pain, and then you come home and you're just like, I just got to numb my mind. I need to numb my mind and my body to this pain. And that was not profitable for me, so we quit the drinking. But that was kind of my self-medication, you know what I mean? But the last time I went to the rheumatologist was probably four years ago or so, and they put me on this stuff called methotrexate. And I had been taking methotrexate in a pill form for about a year, and it seemed to help a little bit. But then they gave me the injectable, like you give yourself a shot in the stomach, and my teeth started rotting out of my head. Like, every cavity I had in my teeth that was filled, the fillings started falling out. I got 2 root canals in a month because it was a side effect of that medicine. Additionally, my sphincter basically quit working. Like, I started just randomly crapping my pants. And I was like, what in the heck is going on? It's not funny, but it's freaking hilarious. Like, I was sitting on the couch one day. We were still living in Oklahoma, and Kara's in the kitchen. And I was just sitting there eating my lunch. I'm eating a salad on the couch. And out of nowhere, dude, out of freaking nowhere, just crap my pants. I was like, did I just crap my freaking pants, dude? And I just got up, nice and slow, went straight to the shower and took a shower. I was like, what in the hell was that, you know? And so then, like 3 days later, I'm standing in the kitchen. It happens again. I'm like, what is going on? So this time I tell Kara, I'm like, Kara, what? I'm literally shatting upon myself just standing here. Like, what is going on, you know? And so I call the doctor, and I call her the nurse practitioner or whatever. I'm like, hey, man, like, what are the side effects of this freaking dope you got me on? Because I got some wild stuff going on out here. And she was like, well, what do you got going on? I was like, well, my teeth are rotting out of my head, and I'm basically shitting my pants every day. Like, what is this stuff? And she was like, yeah, those are side effects of the methotrexate. I was like, hey, man, y'all can't put that in the fine print. You got to put that in the bold print, man. You got to let people know your sphincter's going to quit working. Like, what in the freaking world? So, anyway, I hate going to the doctor. Long story short, good grief, how did I get off on that rabbit trail? Oh my gosh, how did I get off on that rabbit trail? Long story short, Kara wants me to go back to the rheumatologist. And I don't want to. I truly believe God could heal me. I know he can heal me. He could reach down here right now and just go, doop, you're done. You can be done with the arthritis thing. Let's move about and let's keep going. But maybe I'm supposed to have it. You know what I mean? Maybe this is part of my journey that speaks to his glory, which all the suffering does that. Or maybe I'm the guy on the roof. Maybe I'm the guy on the roof and my wife telling me, let's go to the doctor, man, and see what they can do, is the helicopter. And I'm going to get to heaven and go, Lord, why did you allow me to suffer from 25 until I died with this crippling autoimmune disorder? And he says, dude, I gave people the ability to heal you. You just didn't go. You just didn't go. You didn't search for the right one. There's a fine line between all of this, you know, putting your faith in man or understanding that God created the man, understanding that God created some really smart people to do some really smart things. And this is some conversations I've been having with my oldest lately. You know, we're driving around and he's like, did God make the traffic lights? And I'm like, well, technically no, like God didn't just, you know, that's not in Genesis, but God made the guy who made the traffic lights, which that's a handy thing. It's nice to have traffic lights, right? Did God make skyscrapers? Well, no, but he did make a really smart guy that could build skyscrapers. And so the same thing goes for doctors, and it's so hard because the media nowadays, and this goes for the supplement industry, this goes for the pharmaceutical industry, this goes for the fitness industry. Like, there's so much false information. You can't figure out what the heck to do. You can't even do your own research because there's just every other thing you watch or read is just, it's wrong. Like, people just make stuff up. They just make it up. And the only time in my life since 25 until now, so over the last 8 years, that I have felt normal was when we lived in Wyoming. And when we lived in Wyoming, I was cowboying every day, but the arthritis went away, totally away. It's like it didn't ever exist. And we were there for about 4 months, and it was freaking awesome. And so that's why I'm like, well, God can just take it away. God can take it away. But living in Alabama and in Oklahoma, and I don't know if it's climate or whatever, if you guys have had experiences with this, please let me know. I don't know how to get it off of me. It just stays on me constantly. So the extreme ownership side of all this is trying to discern what his heart for me is. And I've had this conversation with a couple of different people this week about serving a good father, right? We are heirs to, we are his sons and daughters. And I discipline my own children. I put my own children in uncomfortable situations to help them grow into who they're going to need to be. And we all know that this is what God does, that most of our suffering as a believer comes from him honing us and training us. And then the enemy is involved in this as well, but the enemy's not omnipresent like God is. You know what I'm saying? God's with us all the time. So there's these little moments throughout my day or my life where I can feel God fathering me. It's like, hey, I know you don't want to do this, but you're going to knock it out, okay? Let's get after it. And that's not, I've had some, man, the freaking YouTube comments, but I've had some people comment on YouTube that you're talking about how I'm crazy. God is not literally talking to me, guys. This is just spiritual discernment, whatever you want to call it. Like, I'm reading the book, I'm listening to the songs, I'm praying with him, and I'm doing my best to understand what does he want me to learn, what does he want me to do. Okay, it's not like God zaps down here and we're having a conversation. He's like, Dalton, this is what you need to do. That's not how that works. Okay, that's not happening. So I'm just going throughout my day praying unceasingly, like, Lord, why is this driving me nuts, or why am I struggling with X, right? And then because I've been seeking his heart, because I listen to the songs, and because I pray, there's answers to those questions. So yesterday I took Wiley to the park, and he's playing at the park, and I was running on the track. And it's the first time I've run in a long time. Mostly because everything hurts, but I'm just at this point now where I'm like, whatever, man. I don't care if it hurts. I'm just going to push through anyway because I can't get fat. If you get fat, it gets worse. Like, all the comorbidities to arthritis is just getting fat. So you just run, and it hurts, and who cares? And so I'm running, and the first mile, all you can think about is the pain that you feel. And then everything kind of goes numb, and you get to, like, this runner's high, which is awesome. So I'm running, and I hit that runner's high, and the song by Need to Breathe, West Texas Wind, comes on. If y'all haven't heard this song, go listen to this song. It's called West Texas Wind by Need to Breathe. And I'm literally running around this track with my kid doing pull-ups on the monkey bars, with my palms facing the sky, just, God, I'm yours. I can't make the pain go away. I can't do anything for myself other than trust you. And see, this is contradictory to the extreme ownership principle, because kind of the idea behind the extreme ownership principle is you own everything, extreme ownership, right? So if there's something going wrong and you're the leader, it's on you, which is true. But in order to be this sort of extreme owner leader that Jocko talks about, for the believer to not lose his collective mind, I think we have to maintain this posture of, Lord, I am yours, your will be done, and then we just simply walk with the understanding that God is going to strengthen us and prosper us and support us and give us everything we need for a holy life. I read that verse this morning. It's 2 Peter 1:3. Yeah, 2 Peter 1:3. His divine power has given us everything we need for a godly life throughout the knowledge of him who called us by his own glory and goodness. So that's the posture. The posture is, Lord, your will be done. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to love you. I'm here to steward the things you've given me. And you own all those things, right? You take ownership of all those things because God has given them to you. But with the you take the ownership in the things with the heart posture of, Lord, your will be done. It is not about Dalton. It is not about you. It's about him. But we do have responsibilities. And navigating those responsibilities are wildly difficult for me lots of the time. Because I've found myself over the last year with lots of responsibilities, like way more than I've ever had. I feel like I've always stewarded or worked really hard to take care of the things that God has given me to take care of, but he's never given me this much before. I mean, we're talking, I got 310 Ranch Life. I'm the general manager and the owner of 310 Ranch Life. We're talking about 310 EDU. I'm the owner of 310 EDU, trying to grow that business. Then we have this podcast. Then we have my family, right? And then my wife's business, which I'm not a huge part of my wife's business, but I am kind of her catch-all. Like if she's having trouble with stuff, or her printers need to be mechanicked on, I do all the mechanicking. So we got a lot going on. And over the last year, I felt like all that looked like I was a guy standing around with a water hose, and there was just fires popping up everywhere. Psh, 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 and I'm just spraying all the fires out. And my goal for this year was to not be that way, not manage from a defensive position, like become offensive and manage my affairs in a way that like I am doing my due diligence before the fire comes up, because man, that's just a rough way to manage your businesses. Like you just from the back with a water hose, that ain't no good. So I don't know. I really didn't have a path for this podcast today, other than yesterday I was in full submission to God and his will, and I was just like, Lord, take it all, man. Like just running. I'm just running. It's just running. And in that song, West Texas Wind, it says, I'm running to you like a West Texas wind. And that's what I was doing. But I think those two coincide. I think we serve a good father, and good fathers discipline their children. Good fathers hold their children accountable. Good fathers ask tough questions and put their children in hard situations to make them better. And that's the kind of father that we serve. And so he doesn't force us to do anything, but if we choose to follow him, we're choosing to be fathered by him. And if we're choosing to be fathered by him, there's going to be great transformation in our life. And I think if I'm being honest with myself and with you guys, there's just some fatigue going on. Like I'm tired of hurting all the time. And this happens a lot. You know, I just kind of get like, oh my gosh, dude, am I going to wake up like this forever? And the answer to that question is, who knows? Maybe. And if I wake up like this forever, God is still good. He's still good. So what's it matter? Wake up, put your boots on, and go to work. And do that until he calls you home to glory. And we need to own that. We need to own it. We need to own where we're at. And some way and somehow me communicating this is going to be healing for someone else. Not in the way that like you're going to be healed, but in the way that you can look at me and go, man, I am struggling with something similar. Like I wake up hurting every day too. Like I pray for healing and it has not come. Does that mean God is not good? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. That means that we are training our minds to suffer well, to suffer better, and God is still asking us to do that. And we simply need to say, yes, sir. Yes, sir. It It hurts, but you're asking me to do it, so I'm going to do it. And we all know that our suffering is a proclamation of His glory, right? It's through the blood of the Lamb and our testimony. The enemy is defeated. So if I can sit here and be honest with you guys and say out loud that I am struggling deeply with this, that waking up every day in pain. I mean, I don't even want to downplay it. Like, it is very uncomfortable. It's mentally breaking me down. And the only way that I can sit in front of this camera or sit in front of that computer or throw that rope or do what I'm supposed to do on a daily basis is with God's help. It's the only way. I haven't figured out any other way to do it because the pain's not leaving. So if you're someone struggling in this same way or with something similar, just know I'm walking the road with you. And just know that it sucks, because it does. It sucks. But we have to maintain a higher thought process on this, that it's for the good of the kingdom. And that's all I know to say, because I don't have the answers to that. I have not been led to the answer in the book yet. Maybe I will if I keep searching. With all that being said, guys, we're still raising money for Riley Searle and Elizabeth. She's battling cancer. The GoFundMe will be in the description. We've raised a couple grand so far, but I've never had a kid with cancer. I've never battled cancer, but I do know how much medicine costs, and it's astronomical. And I also know how much cowboys get paid, because Riley Searle's a working cowhand in Canada. So keep that in mind. If you have some to give it and help them out, because what they're going through is a lot of our worst nightmares. With that being said, if you need me, email me, dalton@310edu.com. I know this is kind of a short episode, but I just want to give you something to take into your day. And I think you need to own the things that God has given you to steward and maintain the heart posture of your will be done. God, you are good. I am yours. Right? You let God own you while you own the things He's given you to steward down here. As always, I appreciate you watching, and I love you. Never weaken.